Alright, so this is the inaugural broadcast of the franchise on YouTube. Of course, the franchise online, you know the name of the channel, of course. And I want to give a quick shout out to all my listeners in Bluehead Nation listening to the franchise, doing this thing every Friday night at 11 o'clock, featuring Ms. Rita, of course, bringing you Bluehead Nation, the finest in hip-hop and R&B and everything else in between, only on 91.3 FM, WVD North, the voice of the University of Delaware. But of course, what would the franchise be without a little bit of football talk? So real quick, entering week 14, of course, many teams battling for a playoff spot. The Baltimore Ravens recently suffered a very demoralizing defeat on Monday Night Football, national television, in Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. Of course, the Packers are now in control of their own playoff destiny, whereas the Ravens now fall back to 6-6 on the season, tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers, competing for that final wild card spot, which the Jacksonville Jaguars currently hold, of course, and the Denver Broncos, who now hold the 5th seed and are essentially in control of their own fate as well, though they're still in contention for the AFC West title. And of course, the Baltimore Ravens, after starting the season undefeated, of course, and dropping the first game in New England to the Patriots in the shocking, heartbreaking loss, last-second drop by Mark Clayton. The Ravens have been the model of consistency all season long. From the loss of Rex Ryan in the beginning of the season, people had brought into question the defense. And of course, Greg Madison, his unit, has stepped up and is leading the league in defensive points allowed in the past month or so. Now, of course, the addition of Dominique Foxworth, questionable to many, of course. I mean, it's obvious given the way that the man is playing scared, but I still have faith in number 24 that the hometown boy can and will improve. Of course, Chris Carr, number 25, hasn't exactly given the Ravens the shot in the arm that they needed at nickelback, nor on kick returns, hence his demotion to number 21, Ladarius Webb, the new starting corner, active because of an injury to Fabian Washington. Now, of course, with all these changes on defense, you have to look at the offense as well, with Derek Mason the only model of consistency all season long, though his temper has actually gotten the worst of him on many occasions. Now, entering week 14, the Ravens host the struggling, to say the least, Detroit Lions, in a game that many have already labeled beyond a must-win, if that, given that the Ravens have now essentially almost fallen out of playoff contention. Now, mathematically, there is still that possibility, but again, the Jacksonville Jaguars hold that 6th seed, and in contention, of course, are still the Pittsburgh Steelers, the defending Super Bowl champions, also at 6-6. Now, Joe Flacco, of course, the number 1 quarterback in Baltimore Ravens history, in my opinion, outside of Vinny Testaverde, maybe Trent Dilfer. He's had some struggles lately, and that's mainly been attributed to his ankle injury. Now, given that his mechanics rely heavily on his ankle to plant, as well as his non-throwing arm, which some believe there may be a shoulder injury he's hiding, not sure, but either way, his interceptions on Monday night, particularly the one in the end zone where he improvised and threw an ill-fated pass to Tremont Williams, who actually had been victimized all night long, but that's a different story. Regardless, the passing itself ill-advised, just one of many rookie mistakes that Flacco's making in his sophomore season, which is a little bit disconcerting to many people, but not to myself. Of course, you see the Flacco wall behind me. That University of Delaware bias aside on my part, I won't be giving predictions, even though everyone assumes that this is a win for the Ravens. I will always consider this a trap game, especially when it comes to a heavily matched opponent against one that is struggling, to say the least. I won't say I'll be surprised if the Ravens drop one this Sunday to almost officially be knocked out of playoff contention, but at the same time, a victory is expected by most, and understandably so. Now, given that, the matchup that I'm looking most forward to, of course, is, as always, Ray Rice matched up against that Lions defense. That is a matchup I'll take all day long, any day. Then again, this is the same thing I said about Ray Rice against the Packers defense, forgetting that the Packers lead the league in average yards allowed per game. So look for LeRon McClain to be a factor in the game as well, and Kelly Washington stepping up in place of Mark Clayton, who's possibly on injured reserve before the end of this season, given his aggravation of his shoulder, which has been bothering him all season long, hamstring bothering him all season long. Regardless, keep it locked here. Ravens, Lions this Sunday, M&T Bank Stadium, 1 o'clock is kickoff. And again, this has been the franchise, bringing you the franchise on YouTube. Keep it locked.